audio should be good. Let's do a quick check-in. Quick check-in. Let's see. Yo, if audio's good, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if everything sounds good, guys. Let's see here. Resend code. Alright, so 606671. Let's see here. Alright, what's good, y'all? Quick audio check. Drop a 1 in the chat if audio is good for you guys. Let me know down below in the chat if the audio is good for you. Alright, so we got SPY sitting at 670. We got these order blocks. What I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna turn this off. We're gonna turn this off. These should already be off. We'll turn this off. Turn this off. This off. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Let's go ahead and adjust this back. All right, y'all. So today the market has been pretty crazy, not gonna lie. One of the things I'm actually interested in seeing here is with SPY, we've just been consolidating at the same range. Have a great Tuesday. Keep up the amazing content. Yo, likewise, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, so SPY this week, we caught some really good moves earlier in the day. Not particularly on SPY, but we caught it on IWM. And one of the things I'm kind of noticing, I wonder, we don't have data tomorrow either. Yeah, today is just pretty much a chop day. If you guys traded anything today, let me know down below. Today was pretty much majority choppy outside of IWM. It gave clean price action. Maybe I can go over that shortly, and I'll show you guys some of the people who took that trade. But IWM pretty much paid the best out of all the ETFs today. I had a few people take Coca-Cola. Let me actually pull this up on the other monitor. Let me see. Oh yeah, Coca-Cola didn't do too bad. They actually had their earnings this morning, which is why we sent it out. Please, can you go over QQQ? Absolutely, let's do it. So this is QQQ right here. Let me do this real quick. All right, real quick, is the audio good, guys? Let me know in the chat. Drop a yes in the chat if the audio is good. I just want to make sure before I start going over all of this that I don't need to adjust it because I just had to reset up everything. Perfect. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. All right, so here with QQQ, today I actually got faked out on this break below this 610.50 level. Honestly, I kind of probably shouldn't have taken this trade just because it was outside the time that I normally trade in. So if you guys know me or if you guys have came to the stream before in the past, you guys know that, there's certain times of the day that I primarily trade in. And for me personally, I do not take trades between 12 and about 2 p.m. And the reason being is because usually you get a lot of consolidation or a lot of choppiness. And that's exactly what we got with QQQ today. So my trigger was this entry right here, this failed 2 on the 1 hour. So remember, a failed 2, you're basically, trying to break higher, bulls are in control, and then they get trapped, right? It ends up coming back lower and closing lower, and then it broke this candle. And honestly, for me, my target 1 was down here at these lows, and then my target 2 was down here. And honestly, I wouldn't say it was a bad trade to take. It's just outside the time that I normally trade in. And that's usually what catches me is like, this is why you get caught up in a lot of this choppiness is when you're trying to trade outside of high volume times. So if you don't know high volume times, it's going to be 9:30 a.m. to about 12 p.m. Eastern, right? I'm talking about Eastern time. So 9:30 a.m. to about 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And then about 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern as well. So basically the first 2.5 hours of the day and the last hour of the day if you guys are trading options. So, usually when you try to trade within lunchtime, which is when Wall Street or, big market movers are going to be on lunch, that's usually when you get cooked the most. So like for me, like I have back tested and kind of reviewed my own losses. Majority of my losses come from either way at the end of the day, or it was coming from the middle of the day, which is why I don't trade middle of the day setups, which is kind of the reason this setup didn't actually work out for me. So I actually took a loss on this. I ended up sizing for zero. So if you guys don't know what sizing for zero mean, I basically went into the trade with an amount of money I was okay with losing already. So in this particular trade, it just didn't work. The thing that I would say about QQQ today though is, let me actually switch this so you guys aren't looking at so many tickers, because the market is about to get ready to close. So I guess I'll just do majority teaching right now, and then we'll live trade tomorrow with you guys, because I haven't live traded in a minute. But if we go over this, you know, we've been pretty much stuck in this box on QQQ. So even if I flip to a higher time frame, let's actually go over to maybe like a 2 hour. You know, on a 2 hour time frame, you know, we've been pretty much getting chopped up like in this range between, you know, yesterday's price action and, you know, we haven't gotten a chance to break above these highs here at 613, and then we never broke below like 609.50. So really there was no reason for me to actually take this trade. This is actually partially why you always want to check the higher time frames, because a lot of times when you're sticking to like the 1 hour, you might even miss things on a 2 hour. What time tomorrow? Probably like around 9:30 when the market first opens. Is trading stocks complicated like Forex? I think anything is complicated if you don't know it. You just gotta take the time out to understand it. Fair value gap. So let's actually go over this, right? So on the 1 hour time frame, this setup ended up, if we drop to actually a 30-minute, this did not pay that well. If we're being completely 100, unless you took it off of a bounce of these lows on the day, this actually didn't pay that well. And the reason being is because, you know, market QQQ first opened and we kind of just sold off, and then we created this base. And I always tell people, look left. So notice how price is actually hovering around these recent lows from the prior day, right? So we had these lows, the market broke above, right, and retested this level. And notice how price tried to come back lower, and then it could not break this level. So I actually didn't notice this either. This is like big rule number one: don't trade outside of your trading setup. Like I tried to take this trade. I was at the gym. I got the alert. I'm like, all right, let me just take it. Ended up getting clapped, which is, it is what it is. This is why you gotta follow your plan. Anytime you don't follow your plan, you gotta have a punishment for yourself. So like for me, if I don't follow my plan, I'll force myself to run a mile, or I'll force myself to take a cold shower. And partially what this does, not even partially, but what it actually does is it helps you. If you hate doing the punishment, it will help you not keep making the same mistakes, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? So, you know, we ended up holding these lows from the prior day over here. And, you know, then we ended up bouncing here. So this was the only move that you could have really caught outside this downside move, that would have paid nicely. The trade that you should have taken today, or the trade that you should have been watching for, was IWM. And the reason being is because we actually sent this setup out to the Discord like 8:45 a.m. before the market opened. And primarily where this setup came from was the 4 hour, right? So, you know, what I always say is like, I take a lot of my entries off of higher time frames. So I know some of y'all, you know, y'all be trading other people's strategies, and by all means, you know, find what works best for you. But like sitting on the 5 minute and the 3 minute and just trading solely off those, that's not a part of my strat. Like I don't do that, right? I'll go down to a lower time frame for confirmation, but I don't trade just sitting on a 5 minute. I don't even take setups off the 5 minute. Everything I'm trading is coming off of a daily time frame, or a 4 hour setup, or a 1 hour, right? And the reason that I do this is because there's so much noise on the lower time frames. Like I truly don't think, especially if you're a beginner, and like if you're trying to really learn trading, learn the higher time frames first, because they will always paint a better picture. Does that make sense? Are y'all hearing me? Let me know in the chat. Right? Always start off with the higher time frames. I think a lot of new traders, they try to get into scalping, and like, does scalping work? You know, I guess, right? But one of the things that I always like to tell people is like, you gotta be realistic, right? A lot of times scalpers, right? A lot of times scalpers, they are really good with instinct when they're in the market, but you don't build that until you put time into the market. If you have no time in the market, please y'all, I'm telling you, if you keep losing trades, like if you're in here right now and you're like, man, I just keep losing money, I just keep taking L's, 9 times out of 10, you're sitting on the wrong time frames for the types of trades that you're trying to take. So like learn the higher time frames first, then work your way down like when you get more skilled. But everybody got to pay their market tuition. So yo, Jake, thank you for the rose, bro. Thank you guys for the gifted. Shout out to all the new follows, 21 follows. We just came live. Shout out to everybody. If you haven't already, hit the follow button. We only had 186 likes. Can y'all get us to 10K, please? So let's go over this trade, right? I'll go over QQQ, SPY, and then I'll go over some other tickers as well with you guys. So this is on IWM. This is on the 4 hour. So what you do during the 4 hour, right? On the 4 hours, you drop down to like around 8:30 a.m., about 8:45 or 9. During your pre-market analysis, if you go over to the 4 hour time frame, a lot of times you'll see a setup where this candle hasn't broken the highs or lows of this candle here. So how many of you guys trade the Strat or are new to the Strat? Let me know in the chat. If you already trade the Strat, just comment Strat. If you're new to the Strat, comment new down below. That way I can kind of get a good idea. Majority of you guys should be people who have already been to these lives in the past. If you haven't, then welcome. You know, I have a lot of videos for free that you guys can watch on the Strat and all that good stuff. So majority of the information you guys will see from me is going to be free. My Discord is still currently closed. I only open it once to twice a month. We already opened it one time this month, filled instantly in the first 5 minutes. Usually this is kind of how this goes. But everything else is free. So you guys can pretty much enjoy this stream without me having to sell you anything. I have no interest in you paying me anything at this moment. So just enjoy a lot of the free game that I have for you on here and on YouTube, okay? If you're new, right, and you want to learn more about the Strat, I have a free YouTube video breaking down the Strat. If you just look up my first and last name on YouTube, Dante Zakram, it'll show you guys the Strat video, okay? So you guys can learn that. It's about 30 minutes long. It's 100% free. I think it's better than most people's paid courses on the Strat, so. All right. So basically, you know, with this candlestick, right, you know, if you don't understand the Strat fully, it's perfectly fine. Just watch that video. But basically the premise of the Strat is understanding price action, right? What does price action mean? You know, a lot of people use these words and sometimes it's hard for newer people to understand what people are talking about. But price action is basically what is price doing? So price is doing something, price action, right? And a lot of times, you know, you can catch a lot of really clean moves off the 4 hour, especially if the candle, let's say this candle right here, hasn't broken the high or the low of here, right? So at one point in time, this candle was stuck in the inside of this candle and it was just sitting in here. And you would use this as a trigger. So if it breaks above, you take calls. If it breaks lower, you take puts. And notice how you already have your targets laid out. So, you know, our entry in a group that I sent out to Discord, I can actually show you guys really quick, just so you guys have proof, right? So if we come over here and we go to day trading signals and we go up to IWM. So it was lagging during yesterday's rally, looking to see if we can get some stronger strength today. 4 hour has a 2-1 setup. So this is what this looked like on the 4 hour, right? It had not broken above this line or below. And you're using it as a trigger because it is coming from a higher time frame. So basically it's below 207.40. And then what ends up happening is if we come back over here, right, and it's actually still selling off. But if we come back over here, this was our entry for today, right? The market opened, it retested and gave us a chance to enter, and then it ended up selling off. Your first target was an order block down here. And then your second target was previous day lows, which was also a gap from the previous day. And then notice how price bounced back above here. So a lot of the times, you know, especially if you're newer in here, what up, Eddie? What's good, brother? I don't use vector candles. I don't think I've ever even heard of vector candles, to be honest with you. There's a lot of different trading strategies out there. If I'm not savvy on it, it's probably because I'm just so focused on what I do right now. But this particular setup was the setup for the day, ideally out of the ETFs. So if you're newer, a lot of times, you know, if you stick with 1 or 2 particular tickers, you know what I'm saying, you can really go really far. You don't have to trade a bunch of tickers. And this is something I'll talk about a lot in my Discord, is like, you don't have to trade everything that everyone else is trading. So again, your entry was here on the 4 hour, right? It breaks lower. And then you just have your target. So this is another thing. Please make sure you guys are having targets laid out. How many of you are trading with targets? How many of you are actually, like, be honest, how many of you are trading with targets? Comment me down below. Can you do this on your phone? Yeah. How do I join the Discord? My Discord is currently full, but I have a free Discord you can check out in my bio, Right now, I'm just giving out free game. How do you start trading? Because I'm so lost. There's a free course in my bio if you want to watch. It's about 7 hours long. It's 100% free. There's no credit card option, no debit card option, no paying option on there. But you can pretty much watch it, and it'll get you started with the foundation. So yeah, you can take entries on your phone. I do recommend having a computer for the charts though. Like all this stuff is very complicated to look at on a cell phone. Like if you're switching between time frames, it is extremely difficult to keep up with all time frames if you're on your phone. Now, do I have friends who trade on their phones? Yes, but most of the time, if you're trading off your phone, it's because you probably only trade one ticker. How long do you buy option contracts? It depends on the day and what ticker I'm trading. IWM, I took IWM, got greedy. Yeah, see, the one thing that I can acknowledge here though, is once this target, so I actually sold at this target here. I should have given it more. And it's crazy because I even sent it out in the Discord. I'm like, yo, we can fill this gap down here. And notice how price comes directly to the gap. That's so crazy to me. Is this a live chart? Yeah, the market is live right now. I'm in QQQ puts, but they're getting torched. But I sized for 0 with it, so it is what it is. But yeah, and then notice another thing, right? A lot of times, the strat will give you signals around, or entries around, or setups, right? They will give you setups around key levels. So notice how you have previous month highs right here. And you also have a 2-1 setup. A 2-1, this is a reversal setup per the strat, right? So if you guys don't have access to this, let me see if I actually have it over here. So this is a PDF sheet that I give pretty much to everybody. If you don't have access to this and you want access to it, just go click the link in my bio. There's a free Discord. You can print it out and laminate it. I think this is a great resource for anyone who is learning the strat. If you don't know the combinations, or if you don't have these memorized yet, this will absolutely change the game for you. A lot of times these setups that you guys are seeing on here, so let's see like right? So this candle, this setup right here is this same exact setup that you guys are seeing on the screen. So let me see if I can. All right, you guys see where it says 212 bullish reversal? This one right here. Drop a yes in the chat if you guys can see this. I know it's a little bit of a glare. Okay, drop a yes in the chat if you guys seen that. Okay, so that's the same thing that you guys just seen, right? The bears were in control. It was selling off. We found support, and it gave you a clear setup to go back higher. So this is just a reversal, right? And that's why a lot of times, a lot of people who are trading, they say the strat is life-changing or change the game for them because they just comprehend price action. They just understand more stuff that's going on with price. So this gave you a clear entry. You have a 2-1-2. I ended up catching this move as well. So I left a little bit of profits, and then I caught a little bit here. And then I ended up losing on QQQ. So I'm basically 1 for 3 on the day right now. I thought there were only 2 types of candles. No, there's 3 when you're trading the strat. How much money should you start trading with? You can start with like $1,000. The biggest thing is like you definitely want to have a job. You just want to have a job though, like cash flow. Bull, keep playing. Here, I mean, like I said, I want a deeper. I actually would like for it to pull back more for me personally. What do you trade on? I trade on Weeble. So we looked at QQQ, right? So QQQ today just wasn't ideal. And there's going to be days where, price action just isn't fully there, right? You can start with 100. Yeah, you can start with 100, but I would say like load up an account with 1,000. If you have the intentions to like really take it serious, start off with 1,000. Where can I get the strat PDF again? It's in my bio. There's a free Discord that has it. But like this price action right here, just from a realistic standpoint, this is why relative strength is important. So if you don't know what relative strength means, it means out of the ETFs or out of the stocks that you're trading, which one is moving the most, which one has the most momentum, which one has the most volume. And a lot of times what will happen is if you're trading things, let's say you have one particular ticker, let's say QQQ is your favorite ticker, but you watch SPY and you watch IWM, right? The thing that you want to always consider is if the volume isn't there on your favorite ticker, it's probably worth dodging, right? Don't trade that particular ticker because the reason what'll end up happening is it'll consolidate, right? And a lot of times you can be watching 2 or 3 different things and you're seeing one that is the best to take, right? But you're so convinced that this is your baby and this is the only one you want to trade that you end up taking this one. It doesn't work. How long would you recommend paper trading? Honestly, not that long, to be honest. I think people need to risk their own money and actually trade with live capital to know what it feels like to lose real money. Because I think when you're paper trading, you can get the fundamentals down, but a lot of the emotions won't come into play until you're trading with money. I personally don't use prop firms. I use all of my own capital. And majority, I would say 100% of people in my group, we all use our own capital. But this is what I always tell people, like, when people come into my group, it's people who work jobs and people who have a family and things like that. They have cash flow, right? I don't recommend trading without that. If you're trading without that, you're gonna go into gambling in this. And the biggest and the worst thing you can do is gamble in trading. That's how you lose it all. I don't like losing. What should I do? You should probably do something else. If you don't like losing, trading is gonna humble you. No lie. So let's look at Apple today. So we sent this out as well. This was a very clean trade. I mean, we really didn't have to do too much work here. So basically, made $1,100 today. Let's go. I work a job and have a family and I still use prop firms. Hey, whatever works for you, bro. How long did it take you to master a skill set? It takes years. I don't care what no one says. If you trying to do real estate and you trying to trade and you're a mom or a dad and you starting an Amazon business, there's no way you're going to be extremely successful with this doing all those things at one time. I'm sorry. I hate to be that person, but like on a real note, like I always tell people, don't get into trading if you think this is going to be just like something you can just do on the side of your side thing, right? Like just do that one thing more. You know what I mean? Like you got to be okay with dedicating a lot of time towards one particular thing. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short at in whatever endeavor they end up going down. It's like they're so scattered that it's hard for them to focus on one thing. And usually for me personally, over the years, I've learned, y'all got to think I've built multiple businesses. I have 2 businesses that did 7 figures. I've traded and done over 6 figures, multiple 6 figures in trading and just investing. And I lacked the most when I was doing the most at the same time, 100%. What indicators you use? A lot of these are actually, if you guys give me the 15,000 likes, I'll share my indicators with you. You guys can just screenshot it. What do you feel is the best indicator to have when trading? Honestly, the Strat. If you don't know the Strat, I think trading might be a little bit more difficult unless you just trade support and resistance. If you're just trading levels, you'll be fine. Good afternoon. You got in on the Beyond squeeze? No, but you know what's crazy? About 3 years ago, Beyond Meat was at, look at this. Let me show y'all this. This is why, doing your own due diligence is so important. It's actually going insane. I want to show y'all this because this stock fell off so bad. And this is why I never, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about nobody. But I want to just show y'all this. This stock went from a $188 stock, right? So back here in like 2022, right? I remember there was this guy on Twitter, and it's crazy because he does not come on Twitter anymore, right? There was this guy on Twitter like, yeah, man, everybody needs to get in Beyond Meat. Everyone needs to get into Beyond. It's going to the moon. Watch how more people start eating this fast food chain, da 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 da. And he's like full porting, right? Like putting all his money into this stock. And for me, I don't buy things that I don't personally believe in. So I just never really touched the stock. I never even traded the stock. I never bought no shares or nothing. And I just remember him because he was vouching for it so much. And this stock ends up crashing from 160, right? From this level back here in like 2021, 2022, which is when I seen it, right? From 160 all the way down to $3. Got absolutely destroyed. Oh my God. This is why you have to do your due diligence. Like, stop just trying to invest into anything or because you've seen this guy talk about it on Twitter, I'm gonna put my money here. I'm telling y'all, that's the fastest way to lose money. That is the fastest way to lose money, y'all. This is TradingView, yes. 15,000 likes and I'll show you guys all my indicators. They're fairly simple though, for the most part. But this is what I always tell people: do your own due diligence. Even if you come to like my live streams, there's so much context that's missing from the information that I'm giving you. Like, let's say if you're in my group, you're gonna have all the context. But if you're only coming to the stream and I'm only streaming for an hour and a half or 2 hours, you might be missing certain parts. So like what I would say is sit in my streams, take the notes, and then go do your own due diligence with it. This is Beyond Meat, BYND. They just got absolutely destroyed. Bro, I smacked it for like 350% overnight. Yeah, this is the ideal time to be trading something like this when it's actually bottomed out. So, I mean, it bottomed out at 50 cents. Shout out to my boy, Kia Killy. He ended up taking this trade back here at about $2. It's at $3.51. I tend not to trade stuff like this. That's just my personal preference, though. Guys, my group is currently closed. Everything I'm giving you guys is free right now. So just vibe out with your boy. Why doesn't your Cash App feature work? I have no clue. This is BYND. Do you think it's time to go long on it? I haven't done any due diligence on this stock since that whole crash, so I have no clue. I'm not gonna even lie. How do you know what to trade? So a lot of times it'll depend on, you gotta have a outline, like a watch list, right? So like for me, if you guys want to copy my watch list, feel free. So like I'll kind of go over it. So like I'll have all my ETFs at the top. So I'll have like SPX, ES, QQQ, IWM. So I have the ETFs at the top. And then from there, I'll have my other favorite tickers. So like Apple, Tesla, Meta, Robinhood, Coinbase, so on and so forth. And I have all my levels marked out on all of these charts. So if I come to a chart, I already know where price is. All I got to do is look at a higher time frame and see where can price go next. So that's pretty much how I have it. Like for today, we sent out Apple. So what I'll do is I'll show you guys the proof first of me sending it out, and then you guys can see how the trade ended up panning out. So I'll go over to Discord. We'll come down to right here. So trade idea, Apple seen a break of all-time highs yesterday. Want to see if we can continue and gap up. Also has a clean gap up. Look for calls above 262.30. Puts below 260.50. So I sent this out at 8:49 a.m. Right, the market doesn't open until 9:30. This is how the chart looked. So there's no rewind feature or none of that stuff. This is just like, my actual own call out, right? And then you come over to the chart and you see how it panned out, right? And it's just simple setups. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these setups are coming from, like I said, a higher time frame. So if you're just newer to trading, focus on the higher time frames. That's one of the best pieces of advice I can give you. So if I wanted to trade, where do I begin? I have a free 7-hour course that's in my bio. It's 100% free. It'll go over all the fundamentals and the basics of trading. So if you want to check that out, you can. What time frame should we start off with? I would start off on the weekly. Go to the weekly, the daily, and then the 4-hour, and master those first before you even touch a 5-minute. Is your Discord free? I do have a free version, but the paid version is currently closed. We are full at the moment. How many tickers do you recommend looking at? Honestly, I've kind of been bouncing around with it. It really depends. Like if you're gonna trade, you should probably have a watch list of like 3, right? That's my personal preference. Other people might think differently. Me personally, I'll tell you to watch 3 things and don't be in more than 3 trades at a time. Unless you're like doing leaps or swing trading, which is holding trades for a longer period of time. Yo, shout out to everybody that just pulled up. If you guys are in here, we're just going over some key information about trading. So make sure you guys tune in, hit the follow button. At 15,000 likes, I'll give you guys all my indicators that are on my trading view right now. How fast have you seen a beginner make a trade? Pretty quickly. I have a friend who turned 2,500 into 18,000. Now that's not, his first 2 trades. I mean, there's people who get lucky. So I like your teaching. Thank you. Yeah, ask all the questions y'all want. If I missed your question, it's because I have YouTube up, I have Twitch up, and I also have TikTok up. So I'm trying to read everything at the same time. Not to mention we got 400 people on the TikTok. So like, I'm trying to get to everybody, I promise. You trade stocks? Yes. Right? So with Apple, if we take a look at this setup, right? It was just a 4-hour trigger, right? On the 4-hour, you had a 2 down. Like, look how simple this is on on a 4 hour, right? You mark out the high and the low. This is a strat setup. This is a 2-2 reversal. This is when sellers were once in control and then the buyers step back in and switch it and basically reverse it, right? And then we break higher. What's up, Sanaya? And then we break higher and then we come back to Monday's highs and then we break above there as well. So I mean, our entry was at 262.26 and then your target was 264 and then your second target was 265, which is a round number. Definitely a good teacher. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Do you have any videos for absolute baby beginners like me? Of course, I have a full 7-hour course for complete beginners. Zaya, what's up? Hope all is well. Hope all is well. So yeah, this was Apple. This was a very, very clean, easy setup for today. Did it come back and retest and give you another entry? Yes. Okay, we have 15,000 likes. All right, y'all, I'm about to go over my indicators with you. How are you? I'm blessed. How about yourself? All right, so here's my indicators right here. Drop a yes real quick if you guys can see this. I just want to make sure everyone can see this. Feel free to screenshot this. Feel free to screenshot this. These are all my indicators. These are all my indicators right here. So yeah, you guys got me to 15K likes. There's all my my indicators. So you guys can feel free to screenshot these. Now, real quick, if you're in here and you work a 9 to 5, right, or you have a consistent cash flowing business, right? Let's say you have more than $2,500 to your name. You have more than that, right? If you want to learn more about the strat, if you want to learn more about smart money concepts, which is how I trade, and pretty much everything around my strategy of how I trade, it's not my strategy, it's just how I trade. If you want to learn more about this, I'm hosting a live trading workshop this Sunday. I do 2 of these a month. So we already did our first one in the beginning of this month. This is our second one, and then I won't do another one for another 2 weeks from now. So if you want to enroll, it's 100% free. It's basically 500 traders. I bring you guys into a Zoom call, and I basically teach you guys the strat. I teach you where I get into my enter my trades, where I exit my trades, why I do them, risk management, how to grow an account, and then I show you a bunch of my students' results and things like that. So if that sounds like something you want to attend, if you're making more than $2,500 or you have more than $2,500 to your name and you have a 9 to 5 or consistent paying job, right, and you want to attend and you want to reserve a free seat, all you have to do is click this yellow button right here. If you guys are here and you are on TikTok, there's a yellow arrow right here you can click, and basically it'll reserve your seat. Again, I can only accept 500 people in this Zoom class. So the last one we had a little over 1,200 registrants, and this is just from doing these streams. So obviously we're gonna more than likely cap out on this one as well. I haven't missed a time where we didn't cap out. So if you want to reserve your seat, feel free to. I'll send you over text messages and emails and everything, and then you get a lot of free gifts as well inside of there. So yeah, grab your seat if you haven't already. If you like the way I teach, I think you'll love this class. It's about 2 hours long of me just giving you everything on a PowerPoint that I can to, you know, help with your trading process. So yes. So these are all my indicators. Yo bro, can you please buy me an e-bike? Where do you click? There's a yellow button right here. If you're here on TikTok, just click this. It's like an arrow, like literally right where I'm pointing at, right here. Is there a link for beginners? It's in my bio for the beginners. There's no yellow box. Then click the link in my bio. If you don't see, how many, do you guys see a yellow box right here or like a yellow arrow? It's like a yellow square with a white arrow. Do you guys see that right here? Drop a yes in the chat. Bro, I'm not buying you a e-bike. Yes, I do. I do. Okay, so it must be just on certain devices. If you don't see it, oh, it's orange. I don't know. It looks yellow to me. What was I gonna say? Yeah, if you don't see it, just click the link in my bio. Okay. Someone said, can you look up GM? Are we good here? Can I take the indicators off now? I don't have the money, but when I do, is this Zoom class for absolute beginners like me? I would not recommend coming to this if you don't have money. I would just recommend watching the free course. I'm an absolute beginner. You can start off with the free course that I have in my bio, guys. If you're a complete beginner, like never, you don't even know what a stock is, start with the free course that's in the bio. It's 7 hours long. It'll teach you everything you need to know about an options contract, about options trading, a chart, right? But you said it's free. Yes, it's free, but you should not be trading if you're not making money. Okay, let's take a look at GM. So GM reported earnings today. I know a bunch of people were pissed off thinking it was going to come down and fill this gap. So the way that you read this, right? So this company reported earnings, right? So basically companies every 3 months or every quarter, right? Part of being a publicly traded company is you have to report your financials. This is called the earnings, right? There's something called earnings season where all the companies start reporting all of their financials and how they did, their numbers, cash flow, and where they think the company is going to go, right? So today, GM reported their earnings and they ended up gapping up, right? So there's a large gap, correct, right? Shout out to Clutch. There's a big gap to the upside. And if you don't know what a gap is, basically a gap is where you have open space on the chart where there hasn't been price hasn't came back through here. So it's an open gap. So we gapped up, which means at some point in time, sellers are going to fill this and it's going to come back to this level, right? So here with GM, right? Once you notice that, this level down here, most people probably use this as an entry, right? Ideally, you should have used previous month highs. This is a key level. You wouldn't want to have seen this get broken. So the higher the level, right? Let's say it's coming from a quarter or a month or a year. Can you take a look at RTX next? Yeah, I got you, bro. The higher the time frame, right? So let's say like it's a support and resistance on a yearly. That's going to be a very, very, very significant support or resistance level because it's such a higher time frame level. If it's coming from a quarter, right? Is this making sense for the most of you who are in here and you understand trading for the most part? Yes, this is Trading View. Is this making sense, right? If you have resistance on a quarter, it's going to be a lot stronger than resistance on a daily. Does that make sense? 100%, bro. Just doubled my puts a few minutes ago. We holding tonight. Yes, sir. Does this make sense? Where do I find the beginner's info? Oh, it's in my bio. I think it's the second link in my bio. So if you just click over there right now, you'll see it. Is the background real? Yes. This is my crib. If you're a complete beginner, just click the link in my bio. There's a free course that you guys can take in there. It is super beginner friendly. It's like watching a bunch of YouTube videos just organized for you. Why not just weekly and daily? Why a year? Because you should always know where yearly support and yearly resistance is. This is why I use certain indicators to mark it out for me so I don't always have to go back and refine it. But yeah, GM looked pretty good once it broke through. It was in an order block on a higher time frame. I didn't actually trade this, but I don't even remember if we sent this out, but I seen somebody made money off this today. Camera looks clear as hell. Great content. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Artie, that's love, bro. Appreciate you. RTX. Let's look at RTX. Eddie, didn't we send this out earlier? I'm pretty sure I sent this out. RTX, yeah. Earnings gap up, could see a continuation. Look at the time that I sent this. 9:02 a.m. Right? Let me see if you guys can see this. Got all these fucking screens up. Okay, you guys can't see it. So over here, if I hover, let me actually do it like this. If I hover here, it says 9:02 a.m. Right? The market opens at 9:30. So this is before the market opened. Right? So earnings gap up. Could see a continuation. Use the 1 hour, 1 bar as an entry. Calls above 170.50 and puts below 167.68. Right? You come over to the chart. These are all signals that I send out as well. So basically the way I do it is I do a pre-market call with my team or with my Discord. And basically we go over all the signals and then I send them out as well so they have them on their phone as well. So on this particular setup, right? Let's come over here. Right? On this particular setup, we ended up gapping higher, right? So we gapped up. And then on the 1 hour time frame, you had this candle like this, right? So like I'm telling you, every trade that we're taking is not every one of them, but majority of them are coming from higher time frames. So like on a 1 hour, this was just a very strategic setup, right? This candle is an inside bar. This is an actionable signal, meaning that when the next candle breaks above it or below it, you take the entry. So this candle breaks lower. Notice how it never broke the bottom half of this candle. So there was no reason to buy puts into this, right? There's no reason to buy puts. You bounced from a key level, which is your previous quarter highs, right? So last quarter, this was the highs of last quarter. So now what was once resistance has now become support. So price comes down, tries to break lower, buyers buy it back up, and then it triggers. So when it triggers, right, you take the trade. When you take the trade, right, you have your targets lined out, right? So 173 was your first target, and then you could have had future targets out there, right? And this all happened within the first, first 3 minutes, 5 minutes of the market? Well, first 30 minutes of the market, right? The market opened, it came down, gave you an entry, you take the entry, and then it rips higher. So a lot of the way that I trade, and the way that I teach how to trade, I think it feels hard to more people who are trading this because they've never seen it. But the more you come to these streams, the easier it's going to be for you. Was there news? They had earnings today. That's why it gapped up like that. It seems confusing, but you did a good job explaining. Thank you. And if you guys have questions, let me know down below in the chat how I can make it, make more sense for you. But basically all you're doing is you're finding the entries off of higher time frames, and then you're just using those. What do you think of Beyond? We just actually went over that. Why do you have so many colors? Just personal preference. On YouTube, is there a playlist? Yeah, I do have a playlist on YouTube. You guys can watch. It's 100% free. How do you know when to sell? So this is why. So look at this, right? Let's look at IWM, right? How do you know when to sell? You always have targets before you enter the trade. Y'all have to stop getting into trades not knowing where to get out. Majority of people think the most important thing is taking the trade. That's not actually the most important thing. The most important thing of trading is knowing when to get out. Because anyone can jump into a trade and make money, but not everyone knows how to sell for a profit, or not everyone knows how to cut their losses. So, the reason that my charts look like this, right, where I have all these lines, is because all of these lines mean something, right? On a higher time frame on the daily, these are support and resistance lines. So yes, they look crazy right now, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to impress anyone who's watching this, right? I just want to keep you guys informed, right? My goal isn't to impress anyone with all the lines and overcomplicate it. My goal is to show you what it looks like to actually trade. And when you're actually trading, your chart is going to look like this majority of the time, because all of this is support and resistance. All of these lines is just, when price is under this line, it's resistance. When price is over this line, it's support. So notice how this same level right here where we pulled back, this was recent levels of resistance, right? It became support. And then when you drop down to a lower time frame, it just makes it easier for you to see these levels. Yes, anyone who is a complete beginner, there's a free course in my bio. It is 100% free. Quarter is a longer term, so the resistance means it's more consistent. It's stronger. Instead of more consistent, it's stronger. Make sense? So like, how do you know when to get out of these trades? If your entry is here, right, and you're shorting it, if you're shorting this, you need to look left, right? Like back here, you can look at these lows, right, from the previous day, right? So you guys probably can't see this, but like this level right here, this is a target. This is once support. This is where the next likely place for price to bounce from. If it doesn't bounce from here, then you can use this level, which is a gap fill. So when there's an open space and the gap gets filled, a lot of times it'll either bounce or it'll continue through. And then notice how, look what price does, right? It pulls back and fills this gap today, filled it all the way, and then it bounced higher and it went in the direction it wanted to go in. So yeah, what indicators? Here you guys go. These are my indicators right here. Thanks for the sauce, no problem. Yeah, if you guys are in here and you're a little bit more seasoned of a trader, you've just been losing consistently, you're trying to find a strategy that works best for you. If you work a 9 to 5, or you have a consistent cash flowing business and you want to learn more about how I trade, I have a free live trading workshop this Sunday for only 500 traders. I'm going to be basically bringing you into a private Zoom call, and I'll be basically teaching you guys all of this stuff from scratch. So if you want to learn more about that and you have more than $2,500, make sure you guys click this yellow button right here. If you're here on Zoom, is that an eagle? You click this button right here and you can reserve a seat. Is all of them active? For the most part, yeah. For the most part, they are. So we are in the last 5 minutes of the day. I actually want to see where SPX closes today. Yeah, the price action today was fucking garbage. Can beginners join the training? If you are a beginner, I would recommend starting off with the beginner's course in my bio. This is a little bit more for like seasoned traders or people who are already trading and they're just not building, they don't have the consistency, or they're not growing their accounts. That's who that is for. Yeah, there's really not much happening today. It's all good. We only move 40% of our ATR, which is a lot lower than normal, but it's all good. You're gonna have days where we chop up and consolidate. You just gotta size correctly. This is why having good risk management is so important. We looked at Apple. Yeah, so like with RTX, this was just having levels marked out. So that's actually what I was talking about, right? When you have these marked out on higher time frames, you just use them as targets. So you get into the trade, right? When it signals it on a 4 hour, on a higher time frame, it gave you the entry, you take the trade. Then you have targets from the daily or the 4 hour. And then you use those levels as places to get out. The Strat, yes sir. Do you think QuantumScape is gonna go after tomorrow's quarterly reports? It's possible. I haven't done too much due diligence on the quantum sector. Have you taken any series certification training? I haven't. You trade indices? Not as much. All right, cool. All right, so I think we got this over. Yo, shout out to everyone who gifted. Thank you guys so much. Oh shoot, I follow you on Twitter. That's lit, man. I appreciate you, bro. Is this futures? Nah, this is options. Everything we're looking at is options right now. Hopefully you sign up with through. Yeah, as long as you guys click this orange button right here, you can immediately reserve a seat. It's free to reserve a seat. So just click that link right there and you'll get a text message confirming your sign up. If you don't see the button right here to reserve your seat, just click the link in my bio. What time frames are you usually trading on? So I sit on like the 30 and the 1 hour. Those are the time frames I'm watching through the day. But a lot of my entries come from the daily or the 4 hour. Yo, Amanda, thank you so much for the gifted. I appreciate you. Appreciate all the gifteds as well, guys. Thank you, guys. I know I haven't been as tentative on shouting y'all out, so that's my bad. I don't trade Forex, so I wouldn't know anything about the brokers or anything like that. All right. It's up 500 legit. I have no clue what that is. I love this live. Thank you. Appreciate you, Blue. I have no clue if it's a legit app to use. I use the VIX to trade S&P. Smart. Yeah, you kind of use it as a guideline since it's an inverse of what the market is doing. How do you know how many contracts to scale? You should be scaling gradually. Like as you are scaling in consistency with your win rate, you can then start to scale. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Your videos taught me, brother, just in life. Really? Yo, appreciate you, bro. How you be catching big moves on different tickers? Normally it's coming from news. Like I trade a lot of news. Like say like Google is probably getting smacked today. Yeah, I kind of figured. So the question someone might ask me is like, hey, you know, how do you know what to trade? Right? Well, keep your news articles on, right? So why did Google sell off? Google sold off because ChatGPT announced that they're coming out with a browser, right? Now, naturally, right, you would think, hold on 1 second. Naturally, right, majority of people who are using ChatGPT are more than likely going to start using that over Google. And obviously this is going to damage Google when it comes to users using their platform. So this is why the stock dropped, right? Also, ChatGPT is the most used platform right now, I think, out of pretty much all the AI, like Claude and all that stuff. I think it's the most used one. They have 810 million users or something like that. I can't remember exactly how many, which is pretty crazy. So obviously with OpenAI announcing that, this is why Google dropped like this. And then you're trading this. So let's say you see the news and you get the article on your phone, because I got the article to my phone, so I already knew this, right? You look for a setup. Look, notice how it gives you a setup. The news comes out on a 2-1 setup. You take the break of this candle, right? You could have taken this off of a 30-minute time frame. The news comes in, you take the trade, right? And it pays. And then you just go find your targets on a higher time frame. Where do you get your news? So CNBC, I have CNBC downloaded on my phone. I have all the notifications on for CNBC, Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, and then there's a lot of pages on Twitter as well that are worth following, that mention a lot of key fundamental things that are coming out when it comes to news and data and stuff. So I basically have my alerts going off all day long. And that's what it takes if you really want to, like, you know, catch really big moves, or you want to know what's actually going on in the market or in the economy. You got to stay up to date. You got to stay informed. So CNBC, Bloomberg, Seeking Alpha, Yahoo Finance. There's so many, honestly. What you usually trade? It depends on the day, honestly. A lot of times I'll take like IWM or QQQ. Yo, thank you guys for the follows so much. We had 256 follows on this stream alone, which is insane, insane. If you're just coming in here and you like the strat and you want to learn more about these entries, and you work a 9 to 5 where you have a consistent cash flow, right? You should not be trading without cash flow. So this is why I'm saying, if you already have money, right? Of course it wants to break lower now after hours, of course. I do not recommend trading if you're not already making money. Do something to make money first. Work a good job, you know what I'm saying? Stack your money up. But if you already have those things aligned and you want to learn more about trading, just click this button right here and reserve a seat to this Sunday's live trading workshop at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's a private Zoom call where I'll teach you all of this stuff in a 2-hour class. Yeah, I'm working 9 to 5, need to learn more. Definitely. See, those are the people that this is going to be specifically for, people who are already working. Yes. Did it send through? Yes. I see you guys registering right now. You reserve a seat here. It is free. Okay, so we went over Google, right? So someone asked me, you know, how do you catch these moves? You catch these moves off of news, articles, you know, CEOs of companies will tweet stuff sometimes and it'll make the company move, right? Like you gotta have the information coming to your phone. I think that's a lot of times, you know, if you're trading, here's another thing. If you're showing up to trade and you're not reading any articles, or you don't know what data comes out today, you don't know if it's NFP, you don't know if FOMC is today, you don't know if you're trading and you don't know that Trump is speaking, right? You're not a trader for real. And the reason I say this is because you are just neglecting the fundamentals, right? Like, can technicals take you a very long way? Yes. But if you don't combine the fundamentals, a lot of times you'll get smoked on your trades, or you won't know where to look, or you won't know why something happened. And like, as a trader or as an investor, I never want to be in a position where I don't understand why something happened. If a trade doesn't work, I want to know why it didn't work, so that way I can journal it and I can keep note of it. Is this a pre-recorded? No, this is not a pre-recorded. I turned $200 into $3,500 first month and blew it by the next month once Trump says something. You got to know these things. There's certain YouTube channels like CNBC, Bloomberg. You can go on YouTube, subscribe to those channels, and turn on post notifications, right? And then when Trump comes live, you'll get the notification right there. So it's like, it's not, you know what I'm saying, difficult to find the information. You just got to go preset all this information, then you'll be good. You only have to set up the alerts one time. Forex Factory is a perfect for that, for real. Exactly. Like, if you don't use the Forex Factory, you can write that down. Excuse me. I look at this every single morning. Before the market opens, I look at Forex Factory because you need to know what data is coming out. So like, Friday we have, inflation numbers, right? You need to know that, right? Sometime at the end of this month, we have FOMC, right? We need to know, are we going to get rate cuts? What will happen if you get a rate cut? What will happen if it's a 25 basis point rate cut? What will happen if it's a 50 point basis cut, right? You need to know these things so you understand. I only have one account, guys. Please, y'all, don't get scammed, man. Somebody told me they lost $400 to someone who was acting like me on Discord. Please, y'all, I will never message you asking you to send me money. I will never ask you if I can trade for you. I will never ask you none of this stuff. Please, y'all gotta work with me, man. I will never reach out to y'all. Anything you ever need from me is in my bio at all times. You can, outside of my group, which is currently full, so you know that. There's no reason for you to pay anything. Please don't be out here getting scammed. Please, y'all. Because there's nothing I can do, literally. If they tell you to upload money into this and then send it in Bitcoin here, there's nothing I could do, right? There's nothing I could do in the first place. So whether it was Cash App, whether it was PayPal, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Please, y'all, don't be out here getting smoked, okay? Please. All right, so we ended up having QQQ sell off at the end of the day, of course. So those puts got smoked, which is all good. Ideally, if we jump on a higher time frame, so we have a 2-1 setup going into tomorrow. This is a great setup for tomorrow, right? We would have to kind of see what pre-market looks like tomorrow, but what you're looking at is, hey, if we break, like, I would only look for calls if we break above 613. If so, then that's what I would like to enter. And the reason I would enter this trade is because it's a break and test of all-time highs. So that's the only time I would look for calls tomorrow. Down here, I will look for shorts if we break today's lows, right? And if we break under, 609.36, I will use this, right? And then my targets are already here. And I just have alerts set. Do you ever trade futures? Not much. I've traded it in the past before, but I prefer options. I like the fact that you can turn small amounts of money into huge amounts of money. Like, we can go into the Discord. I just shipped out some 1K awards. Let me see something real quick, if I have a picture of it. So these are all members in the Discord right now. This guy's new. He made $811 off Coca-Cola. I sent this out earlier today. You guys are just kind of seeing some of the profits. We got some people who paper trade, some people who use real money. We got some people who trade with big accounts. We got some people who trade with smaller accounts. 88% on IWM, so on and so forth. This is just all today. You guys can see we're extremely active. But this right here, this award, so all members of my Discord who generate over $1,000 in a day, I just shipped out about 14 of these. So these are all students of mine who made over $1,000 in a day from trading. All of them received this award in the mail, where they're going to be receiving it this week, which is pretty dope. So he ended up putting his up. This is, again, doing $1,000 in 1 day trading. And yes, we teach this every day on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, so this is just the Discord right here. We be going crazy. Let's jump back onto the charts, though. Netflix says a tax dispute with Brazil cut into third quarter earnings. Oh, God. Netflix did just report their earnings, didn't they? Oh, my goodness. They're getting torched. Oh, they are getting cooked. Holy moly. This is getting torched. I mean, we filled the gap. It needs to hold 1144 or this thing could go. How do I get started? There's a free course in my bio. So look, if you're in here and you're a complete beginner, you don't know what an options contract is, you don't know what a stock is, you don't know how to place a trade, you don't know nothing about a chart, click the link in my bio. It's free. There's no credit card option. There's no nothing in there for you. It should say something like free 7-hour course and free Discord. You click that if you're a complete beginner. If you're in here and you're already trading and you want to learn the strat and you want to learn smart money concepts or just how I trade, the particular strategy that I trade with, you click this link right here, this orange button, and you could reserve a seat to this Sunday's live trading workshop. I'm only seating 500 people. So again, like I told y'all, if you try to show up Sunday at 7 p.m., right, and you try to get in there and we're at capacity, I will tell you we are at capacity. One thing y'all should know about me by now is that I don't play around when it comes to certain restrictions and things like that. Like, I do it the way that I do it because it's quality control. It's the only way that I can make sure that people are getting the best quality possible. Do you do multiple workshops when the next one? I usually do them once or twice a month. I do them once or twice a month. Still bullish on Netflix. I mean, it's a great company. Just because their earnings is being affected doesn't take away from the actual company itself and the fundamentals. This is what I always base my investing off of. I also base my investing off of where the particular ticker is. So, like, for example, MSTR. My guy, Jackpot Studios, shout out to my dog. What's good, brother? Back here, if I were to zoom out a little bit, right, just, disregard how many lines I have on here, right? MSTR is at a place that I like to buy from. This is support, and we're starting to find, a floor down here at this like 280 level. So like a lot of times when I'm buying things long term, I am basing it off of where is it right now compared to its most recent highs. So it's about, if you take this info line over here, from the most recent highs to where price is now, it's at an 18% off discount. If you base it off of the most recent, like, higher highs, right, it's about 30% off. So first, you understand the company itself, right? So MSTR, they buy Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. I understand the concept of what they're doing, right? If you don't know Bitcoin, you probably shouldn't invest in the company, right? It's that simple. So you understand what they do. You understand the product. You understand the development of the company. What type of things are they launching? What things can you look forward to, right? You can find all this stuff on Yahoo Finance, right? And then you base it off of where the stock price is. So if the price is at a discount, I would like to buy it if it's a company that I like. Does that make sense? Drop a yes in the chat if that makes sense, right? I am only buying companies at a discount. I'm not buying companies when they're overpriced, which is what most people end up doing, and this is why they end up losing so much money. So like for me, I'll enter positions, long term when the market is bleeding, when everyone's like, oh my God, what happened? Why is this pullback happening? All that. That's where I'm there just buying up if it's at a level that I like. So that's how I buy stuff long term. Now, I've been doing that for quite some time. And it's like, you don't have to be a genius to do it, literally. If you see something like this and it's a company you really like and it pulls back this much from 450 to 300, and it's a camera it's a company that you like, why would you not buy it? If you liked it at 450, you should love it at 300. If it pulls back to 250, you should be in love. What camera are you recording on? A6400. It's a Sony. So yeah, a lot of it comes down to like getting your emotions out of the way. Like a lot of times when people are in the market, there's too many emotions around the money. That's why I always tell people, do not trade or invest without a consistent paying job. You're not going to be able to withstand the emotional impact that happens when money is red, or when you're red on a trade, or where you're red on an investment. If you don't have a job where it's like, or a business that's paying you as well, so even if you lose it, you can make it back through, your stream of income, it can get brutal for you. That entry and exit video you put out was a big help. I'm glad you guys liked it. Yeah, I'll be posting a lot of stuff in the free Discord as well. So if you guys are in here, you want the access to the free course, it comes with like free videos. Sometimes I record and I throw them up on Twitter. I'll be throwing them inside the free group as well, so you guys can check that out as well. There's a ton of information in there. You just click the link in my bio to access it. Let's see here. Hey, I'm from Kenya. Hey, welcome in. Shout out to everybody from all across the world. All right, let me see something real quick. Where do we go again to sign up for the workshop? You click this right here, this orange button. If you're here on TikTok and you have a 9 to 5 and you have a consistent paying job, right? Something where you have cash flow or you have more than $2,500 to your name. You click here and you can register a seat to the free live trading workshop this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So it's on Sunday at 7 p.m. Normally most people don't have to work, so I did it that way for a reason, so you can actually have a chance to show up. Let me see this real quick. Okay. Yeah, so this is MSTR. So this is type of stuff that I like to see when I'm buying, like Coinbase, right? Coinbase is kind of loading up right now. See, like this, I would want this to be deeper, right? I want it to sell off more before I'm interested in really buying a lot, right? Another example is Webull, right? We was talking about this earlier, which is the ticker bull, right? When something pulls back like this, right? And it pulls back to a demand zone or a support, like deep support. So back here, this is your previous year low. So last year, this is the lows from last year. This is support, right? So if something pulls back like this, you take an info line within TradingView, right? And you mark out from the most recent highs and you mark out to where price is now. So this has dropped 30%. So this same company with the same fundamentals, all the same data points, and it's the same company. The stock is just getting beat up. So when you have opportunities like this to be able to buy a company that you like, that is profitable, you check the cash flow, you check the balance sheets, you do all these things. And I get it, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's boring, or your favorite YouTuber doesn't do it this way. That's why I'm probably not the person for a lot of people, and that's fine. But for the people who do resonate with me, you will find success by doing this for the most part, right? Obviously, you still have to do your own due diligence, right? You need to teach to high schoolers. I think that would be really fun. I think they would like and appreciate this. But when you have an asset that's it's 30% off, right? Like, if you loved it at this price, you should have money on the sidelines for this at this price. You see what I'm saying? I wish I caught this from the start. This whole thing will be uploaded onto YouTube for you guys. So you guys can go back and rewatch this whole thing on YouTube if you want. So when something pulls back 30%, this is the time to buy shares, right? This is the time to buy leaps, right? Or swings, right? You can buy, like me, I bought the original entry back here, right? At around this $12 level. This was back in May, right? I put in $20,000. It pulled back and then it ends up curling and going higher. I pulled $14,000 in profit from it. And then it's doing the same exact thing again. All I'm doing is taking the same, like, it pulled back here to the same level of support that we're at right now. All I'm doing is doing this. I'm just doing the same thing I just did in May. Hold on one second, y'all. Shout out to the Strat. Not many people know about the Strat. I know, man. It's crazy. I think people who are missing out on the Strat, man, I get it, you know? I know it seems so complicated. I swear to God, it's not as complicated as people make it seem, bro. I kid you not. This is an infinite money glitch. Yeah, this is like, you can do this, but here's the thing though. You only should be doing this with companies that are profitable and are growing. Do not do this with companies that are not growing. This is why, so like, you know, I'll pull up, I'll pull this up, right? So like what I'll do, let me see if you guys can see this. You guys can see this, right? So look, this is how you do your own due diligence. So you go to Yahoo Finance, right? You come over here, bam. You go to Yahoo Finance. One second. Okay. Let me put this up right here. So you go to Yahoo Finance, right? And you type in a ticker, right? So let's say bull, right? Or actually, let's just do like this, right? So the company will come up. You click on the company, right? Yo, bro, gotta get blocked. Holy shit. So look, you click on the company, right? And then you scroll to the bottom over here. It's actually not gonna show up while I'm looking at it like this. So I think it's not under statistics. Let's see if we can go over to the right over here. It's because I have it formatted like this. Hold on. So if you go to Yahoo Finance, you go to financials. Here it is. So let me go over to financials. Okay. So take a look at this, right? So this is the financials of Webull, right? So this is how you read what the company is actually making, right? So like if I come over here, you guys should be able to see this a little bit more clearly, right? Let me actually do this real quick. Okay. So basically all I do, all right, all I do is I come over here and I look at the annual, and you also look at quarterly, right? But you can start off on the annual, and you want to look on the income statement sheet. You want to look at the balance sheet, and you want to look at the cash flow, right? So the first thing you want to acknowledge is the company growing? Are they making more money than they were making in the past? That's the first thing you need to know before you invest in any company, right? Like I know y'all can't see this portion over here because I don't know what the fuck is the screen, right? Let's just actually do it like this. We'll do it like that. Boom. So you guys should be able to see it pretty clearly, right? You have total revenue, right? 12/31/2024, the year before, and the year before. So the revenue is growing. Is it growing exponentially? Not really, right? Now, another thing to keep in mind is like anytime you're looking at these numbers, you have to add 3 more zeros. So this is 330 million, right? This is 330 million in revenue that they generated, not 390,000. So 390 million is what they generated in revenue. They have the cost of revenue, right? They have the gross profit. Is the profit growing? This is something you want to look at. Another thing you want to look at, right? If you come over to cash flow, right? You want to see how much operating cash flow are they using the cash flow to buy more assets? That's something you need to look up. Where do you see that, right? If you come over to the balance sheet, you can see a company's assets, right? So obviously they're acquiring more assets. So like all this stuff that I'm looking at are like investor things that you should look at, right? Like you shouldn't just be buying a company just based off the chart. Does this make sense? You all watched your YouTube video yesterday on the Rob Smith Strat. How'd you like it? Real quick, I need to know, does all of this what I'm going over right now make sense? Why would you buy something and hold it for a long period of time without looking into the company? You don't know what products they offer. You don't know who the CEO is. You don't know the company moat. You don't know what could put the business you don't know what could put it out of business, right? Like you need to know all of these things, right? You need to know all these things. Guys, this is my only account. I have no other accounts. There's no one that I'm paying to act like me. How does that sound? Come on, y'all. Right? I just told y'all, beware of people who are not, if you don't see the account go live, it's not me, right? I will never, here's another thing. I will never message you unless you DM me directly on this page right here. I will never message you, ever. Ever. Holy shit. I'm looking at bull right now. I think it's a great swing trade, which is why I'm in it right now. So everything I'm talking about right now in this particular company is why I bought this company. Is why I bought this company. I've been looking at NASDAQ and gold charts and matching it up with the Strat, probably my favorite Strat. I love it. Yeah, once you learn it, it's hard to go back to any other form of trading that you used to do in the past, honestly. We just went over Beyond Meat. It's not something that I'm looking to trade, but it looks like it's paying a lot of people. So I love to see people get paid, honestly. So this is a stock you would hold long term. You would have targets on this. So like it's at a great place to buy right now for a swing trade, right? Like I'm swinging shares and I'm in leaps. So I'm in contracts and I'm in shares. I have both because I want to expose myself to the upside. And then I just have a stop loss. I know if price gets like, for example, on bull, if we break under 1038, right? Like, let's say if we break under like $10, I'll sell this position and I'll take my losses, right? Like I'll close out and just accept my losses, right? And the reason that I do this, because you gotta know where you get stopped out at. So this is where I would like to buy more at. If we break under $10, the trade is not ready, right? It could fall even lower. The next level of support is $9.53. So if you want to hold it past that, you can, right? So this is just where I would like to buy more. This is a real, like a strong level of support that I'm buying at. So I know where I'm getting out if the trade goes against me, right? And then I know where I'm getting out if the trade goes my direction, right? So you have this level here, this level here, this level here. These are all targets that you use. And it's all based off the daily time frame. So like all these levels that I have marked out, all of these are just solely based off of higher time frames. And this is where I'm like taking these trades and just holding them and just set alerts. How do you find your levels? They're just support and resistance on the daily or the 4 hour. Do you combine fundamentals? Yes, I do. Can you repeat the steps on how to utilize Yahoo Finance? Yeah. On Yahoo Finance, you go over to you search the ticker, and then you go to financials, right? It'll be on the left side. And then you just go over the balance sheet, the income sheet, the income statement, and then the cash flow. So this is where you're gonna see like gross profit, operating expenses, pre-tax income, right? EPS, earnings per share, right? You can see all this stuff right here. And the best thing you can do is like learn this stuff. It's just the best thing you can do is just learn it. Like get a notebook, write all of this down, right? If you don't know what this stuff means, like, total equity, gross minority interest. If you don't know what that means and you want to know it, like some of this stuff you don't need to know, right? Like the most important things is, are they spending more on assets? Is the cash flow growing? Is the revenue growing? Are they gaining more customers, right? Are they paying less in expenses, or is it going up? If they're increasing expenses, right, is the revenue increasing with it, right? These are all things you got to know. EPS means earning per share. Earnings per share. What platform you use? This is Yahoo Finance, as far as what I'm looking at right now. Sir, love to see it. Love to see it. Let's see here. All right, cool. All right, y'all. Let's see here real quick. Let me see something. All right, so if you're in here right now, this is going to be your last chance to register for this Sunday's live trading workshop. This is only for people who have a 9-to-5, or you have a business that is generating cash flow, or you have more than $2,500. This is specifically for you. And if you're already trading, this definitely will help a ton. I have a live trading workshop this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can reserve a free seat by clicking this yellow button right here, right? You can click that. It'll take you to reserve a seat. You go reserve your seat. You'll get an email and a text message the day of the workshop, so that way you can join. It's free to reserve a seat. You should not be trading unless you have cash flow, unless you have a business that is making money, or a 9-to-5 that is making you money. Don't go down that road. I'm trying to tell you. So yeah, with that being said, guys, that is pretty much it for today's workshop. Or not workshop, but just free game that I was giving y'all. I've been on here for about an hour and 18 minutes. I have a few errands I need to run. So I'm gonna go knock this stuff out. I'll be live tomorrow. I'm gonna trade live with you guys probably around 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So if you pull up tomorrow, I'll show you how I get my entries, where I'm getting out, if I make money or I lose money. It's completely transparent. Everything that I do and that I'm teaching you guys is everything that I personally use as well. So with that being said, that is pretty much it for right now. If you guys need anything, click the link in my bio. All the free courses, free YouTube videos, all that stuff is in my bio. So if you have no money right now, the best place to go is click the link in the bio.